Good morning. It's Saturday. I'm in the office. You know what that means. The Saturday Morning Hustle Podcast. Outworking the competition while they still sleep. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 is just not going to get it done if you want to be the next big thing. Today is part 5 of our 5-part series of misunderstood and misutilized business techniques. We started with number 1, marketing. What marketing is and isn't. Number 2, advertising, communications, public relations, etc., because that's not marketing. Number 3 was, just making sure we're recording, number 3 was customer service as sales. Number 4, business development, biz dev. And now number 5, BPM, business process management. Sounds like a heavy concept, but it's not. I'm going to break it down, explain it to you, and it's huge, highly valuable, huge impact upon your business if you will embrace and totally live the lifestyle of business process management. So right off the top, I'm going to give you the definition my business, the Golden Group, uses for business process management. This is one of the services that we offer. It's something that really I have passion for because I think it's super beneficial to business owners and decision makers. So the Golden Group definition of business process management, BPM, is a strategic approach to aligning company workflow, procedures, communication, and human assets, that's your talent, to create the most effective, efficient, and manageable system for sustainable business growth and longevity. That is my official definition of business process management. Now, what does that mean? BPM, business process management, is an absolute dedication to continual improvement of everything that makes up your business. Every part of your business can be inspected and potentially improved every day, every time you use it. So that dedication to that process is known as BPM. I want to explain to you in practical terms how to utilize that for your business. So the key to continual improvement is creating effective and efficiency. Dedication to effectiveness and efficiency. Effective is when something works better. Efficiency is when it costs less, and that could be time, money, effort, etc. Any cost that you have to, when you can reduce that cost, you created efficiency, effectiveness, efficiency. And when you put them together, the management of a business from the top to the bottom and the bottom back to the top again is easier to be successful and sustainable. So think about that. Successful and sustainable is always the goal of any business entity. So by being effective, by being efficient, the management of a successful business becomes easier to manage and be successful through business process management. Business process management creates dependability in the execution of your business activities by focusing all processes necessary to the day-to-day operation of your business. Everything that you do inside of your business, from open the front door, unlock the front door, to turn on the lights, to make the coffee, to having materials for production, having tools into place, have employees aligned, to having internet, to everything that goes into your business running is based on a process. Processes are parts of systems. Systems are the way that goes into the business model, is how that you build, operate, and manage your business. I'll explain all of this in a second. Business process management is the effective management and continual improvement of all of those processes, systems, structures, etc. So when you better manage your business, you get at every level and every aspect of your business, when you examine and improve and better manage every aspect of your business, from the simplest aspects, the most routine, the most daily, common factors, through once a time, once a month, once a quarter, once a year type activity. But if you continually improve every one of those processes, the benefit flows upward, and it ultimately creates a much more potentially successful business. And that works in every department, every system, every structure. So the business as a whole, the sum of the parts, it's continually improved, means the business itself is a better business. It's stronger, more reliable, more sustainable, and more potential for success and sustained success for a long period of time. You don't want to do something great one day. You don't want to do it great 1 week or 1 month. You want to do something great and then set that as the level that you operate on continually Only moving upward from there is your plan, is your intent, and at the very least, not sliding backwards, not moving backwards. Continual improvement, dedication to the BPM process will allow you to maintain or continually move in the right direction, not moving in the wrong direction, and that will almost guarantee a successful business operation. So let's start right off the top of organizing BPM, the BPM philosophies at all levels. Every business is organized into separate but collaborative departments, right? And every business is different. Every business structure is different, but essentially we're talking about your sales department, marketing, logistics, production, HR, management, upper management, sales, all of every department that could be within a business. They operate themselves in their silos, if you will, and then collaboratively, they create a positive outcome for the business. They create sales, they create flow through, they invoice, they receive payment, transactions, process it, pay the employees, pay the vendors, pay your taxes, employ people, hire the people when you need to, let people go when you don't, manage success from the top to the bottom. All of that are set up into departments. Processes are within each department, within each job description, within each role are the processes, sometimes called business rules, but essentially the steps, the guidelines, the actions, operations, procedures, techniques, practices, etc., for you to do your job. If you're on the production floor, if you're on an assembly line, then the tools necessary, the training necessary, the actual parts that go on, whether it's the raw materials, the actual parts itself, the machine itself, electricity to the machine, how you enter, how you exit, safety protocols, all of those things are procedures. There's small procedures. There's multiples, hundreds, sometimes thousands of procedures per job description that those jobs are within departments. Those departments are within the whole of the business structure. Processes are all of the rules, all of the things that you would train someone on, explain to someone, show them how to do their job. That's what we say in BPM, business process management, business process. These are the processes within your business. Now, systems are collections of business processes. So whole departments have systems. They have ways of doing things, whether it's safety protocols, the production techniques. In the marketing department, you have your strategy, your strategic plan about how you go about your marketing. Your sales department have your sales techniques, your follow-up, your customer service tools, your CRMs, etc. But systems are when you collect all of these processes together, and then through BPM, make sure that they are collaborative. Make sure that you solve a problem once because the information flows upwards, that you don't repeat yourself, that you don't have multiple steps for the same thing, and that you're all moving towards the goal, which is producing the product or service in the way it's expected, delivered to the customer in the way it's expected, and then you can invoice for it, you can receive payment, complete the transaction, separate out for budgeting, for paying your taxes, for managing the whole process. So systems are collections of processes. Processes are individual steps, tools, etc. that make a job work. Systemization is the collection and management of the systems, which are groups of processes. So we started with individual processes. We worked into grouping systems. Systemization is sometimes automated through technology, sometimes just utilized through human beings, through management teams or other things that make these systems routine. The things you do every day should have a processes in place and then systems that make those daily executions something that meets expectations every time. So if the product has to be a certain size, it has to be a certain way. If you're supposed to produce so many per hour, per day, if you're supposed to have tools available to do so, if you're supposed to have a list of 10 people you're supposed to call, if you have a to-do list in the production department, etc. All of these things are available to you on a regular basis so that you continually do your job at the level expected and at the level that creates the most effective and efficient version of that job. That is how you're supposed to be set up. The examination of this processes and systems and the attempt to systemize is BPM, is the business process management. It's the actual management of that is what we're going to take advantage of. That's why it's important to start with those definitions. So BPM, business process management, is a highly focused execution to maximize potential for business strategy, assets, structure through continual improvement. Very important, continual improvement. Businesses need to improve. Business conditions, business factors change almost every day. Sometimes big changes, often very small changes, but those changes need to be felt and adjusted to head on. You need to incorporate that change process into how you work, not going backwards, how we've always done it, getting stuck in the past, but how you move yourself forward. If you can do that through business process management, your continual improvement, the process of continual improvement, I'll explain exactly how that happens here in just a second, will move you in the right direction. It will allow your business to grow and develop as it should and needs to in order to remain competitive and be successful. So, simple to say, but very hard to execute, the idea of continual improvement without planning, leadership, and a willingness to change. Do not get stuck on the ego of the boss or the ego of the person who developed the original process that maybe needs to be upgraded now. Absolutely don't get stuck into how we've always done it. It's a huge red flag for me on the business side of things. Anytime someone says to me, that's how we've always done it, I automatically challenge those concepts, because being stuck, being set in how we've always done it is the only way to do it, is an outdated way of thinking. And you're the opposite of what I said earlier about business needs to continually change. The management of change is where success happens. If you want your business to be successful, you have to be really good at managing change. The only way you do that is an attitude of being open-minded and, in fact, anticipating the need for change, the need for update, the need for improvement, and then executing upon that, having dedication to it 100%. Not dedicated to how we've always done it, not dedicated to the person who did it originally gets to continue to get their credit for the original process. Fantastic, but your business has to move forward. You do that through business process management. BPM creates an opportunity for consistent improvement of a business, of a brand, of an event, etc. You can improve every job description. You can improve every department within your business. You can improve the business structure, the biggest business organization, your business model, your business strategy, your business philosophy. All these things can be improved from the bottom up, from a singular business process through the systemization, the structure, and the strategy of the business. Efficiency is in the development and creation and delivery of products or service is a well-run business. The definition of a well-run business is efficiency in producing the product or the service that's expected by your consumer, so it can be sold at a rate expected and appreciated and valued by the consumer, and in a repeatable process. It has to be able to produce it, you have to be able to sell it, you have to be able to collect on that sale, receive the income in, manage and process that, and then repeat the process. It's not enough to sell something one time. You need to sell over and over and over again. And hopefully you're selling multiple times to singular customers, because that is repeatable business. We've talked about many times on this podcast, the value of repeatable business. So the efficiency and effectiveness allows for the development, creation, delivery of products or service as a well-run organization. So the potential benefits of adopting a business process management style, the philosophies of putting these things into operation for you. You lower the cost to produce what it is you produce. Product or service, whatever it is. If you lower the steps taken, if you lower the investment necessary because you're continually improving, you're finding ways to improve your process every time you do it, less touches, less money, less time, less effort, you're making it better, or at least more profitable. You can deliver faster turn times your delivery because you're being more effective and efficient, better profit margins. If you lower the cost, if you're more effective, if you're more efficient, you lower your internal cost, which means you either have a better margin or you can lower your prices, or at least not raise your prices when your competitors or less effective businesses that you compete with are raising their prices. Right now, we all know, because of the economy and the factors, inflation, etc., a lot of prices are going up. If you're capable of maintaining your prices right now because you're creating internal efficiencies, if you're reviewing every single process in your business, making sure it's necessary, making sure it's the right use of your time, your money, your effort, of all your employees, etc., then you might be able to just hold the line, which will create the potential for sales because you have a lower price point, or the potential to retain and create loyalty because you're not raising your prices or passing those on to the consumers, which happens when businesses must raise prices. agility. Having BPM, having business process management, continual improvement creates agility. It makes you able to react when you have to make a major change. Something like COVID-19, the war in Russia, supply chain issues, etc. right now. If you have complete command and control of every process in your building, you understand everything from the top to the bottom because you inspect it and continually improve it on a regular basis, then making the changes to changing your vendors, differences in how you obtain your raw materials, how you ship, how you deliver, how you process, etc., are easier to manage. Not perfect, not simple, but easier if you're control and command of your process and you've been making it effective and efficient as possible through BPM all the way up to this point. The BPM philosophies also create a consistent potential for growth, positive attitudes, and innovation. And this gets down to the actual production level, to the production floor, to the employees who are doing the activity every day, working on an assembly line, working in a production style facility, whatever it is that you're doing. The employees that are closest to the product, who actually put their hands on the product or use tools or are in the process, whether they're programming it digitally or manually, actually analog, touching things, utilizing tools, etc. The ability to have a positive attitude and innovate comes from the fact that the routine processes, the simplest aspect of every job, have been systemized. By systemizing, by making the routine known and easier to manage, you allow for your employees doing so to have the space to innovate, to create their own process or make their own adjustments, as opposed to being held down by how the boss told them to do it or how we've always done it. So using business process management opens you up at the production level, at the actual manufacture of the product or service, to do what is necessary, do what is expected, do what is routine to meet the minimums necessary to create the thing you're trying to create, the widget. But then innovate and change and update and benefit that process by giving them the space to do so, because they don't have to remember, does it go from left to right? Do I do 1, 2, 3, or 4? Does this tool use or this tool, this tool? A systemization of those processes, a simple, literal, no-brainer. You know how to do this at these aspects of your job, and we will get the end product we want out of it. Then allows the freedom for the individual to think, to experiment, and to improve their own process. This is empowerment on multiple levels of leadership and employee buy-in. When everyone is allowed to improve their process because they're the person doing it, they know better than anyone else, and they have a system, the business process management system, that allows them to communicate the changes necessary, the updates, the benefits to their process that makes their process easier, more effective, more efficient, whether it takes a load off of them on their workload or they can produce more, maybe potential for a raise or for bonuses, etc. They will do that, and then the company benefits from the innovation created by the empowered and motivated employee. Innovation and improvement comes from the dedication of this process, listening and then interacting and engaging the actual changes that your employees suggest through the business process management. These employees are subject matter experts in the real world. They don't theoretically know what they're doing. They do it every day. They're the closest to the process and most likely to give you the actual way to benefit it, to do it better, to benefit the process, and to make it more effective, more efficient. They will feel good about their role in this process. They will buy in. This also allows you in a management position to ID quality employees who are looking for the benefit, not just of themselves and just of their role, but the benefit of the company itself, the bottom line. These are big picture thinkers. These are the people that you are going to want to move higher, to promote from within, or to give a raise or to a bonus to, because you want to retain them because they see the big picture and they're benefiting themselves and the business, top line and bottom line, all at the same time. So by lowering your effort, lowering the effort achieves more. By lowering the effort necessary, because you take it from 10 steps to 7 steps to 8 to 6 steps to 2 steps, because you're continually improving your process, because you're continually doing things better and paying attention to the people doing it. Everyone benefits and everyone wins. Now, there is a potential downside to overthinking anything in business, sometimes referred to as paralysis by analysis, etc. Overthinking, always trying to find an answer that may not be there, could lead you to potentially wasting time. But the positive benefits of business process management greatly outweighed the negative benefits of business process management. And sometimes, too, it can be hard to put that much structure on a business entity, and this is sometimes more human capital, it's more IP process in industries that are creative or experiential. So if there's a lot of research and development, a lot of creativity that's involved, a lot of arts and communication issues that change on a regular basis because of a creative process, sometimes it can be hard to quantify that, but it's necessary to quantify it for measurability and for understanding the effectiveness. Thus, you can explain the profitability of the creative itself, which is one of the hardest things to do in business. So ultimately, by systemizing all these activities, you create opportunity within your business. By taking the mundane and making it regular, making the minimum product development always met and easy to do because your systems are in place, because the processes are written down, they're developed, they're communicated, etc. You're less focusing on doing the thing, but more focusing on managing the process, improving the process. More room for your employees to think, analyze, and be innovative in their daily routine. It's not routine to them, it's something that they're continually trying to improve. Outcomes then become more predictable. The products are always at a high quality level. They always meet a certain standard because the systemization takes care of the majority of that work, and they only get better because of a attitude of innovation and empowerment. That predictability is easy for you to build business models on, to invest, to bank upon as the business owner. And you don't dumb down employees by making them work to a routine that they have to do on a regular basis. You empower your employees to utilize the systems in place, the processes, the systemization to get you to a certain point. Then they get to put their stamp on it, their actual execution that they bring to the job description, and the potential for innovation and efficiency as well. Taking that extra load off of them through their own thought process, through their own innovation, and creates a quality workflow. So instead of impeding the workflow, you improve the workflow. Now, ultimately, in the BPM process, the business process management, you have an attitude of challenge everything. There are no sacred cows, which are ideas that just cannot be addressed. Again, we discussed earlier, there's no such thing as how we've always done it. Examine, challenge, and change anything and everything that could be done better, more effective, and more efficient. That is the key. That focus, that attitude, that process of BPM will allow you to continually improve. Never take the process personally. Just because you set the original process that's now being updated the next day or the next month or 2 years from now, don't take that personally. Just because someone found a better way to do it doesn't mean that you were not capable when you did it. It doesn't make you a not smart person. It means that simply the process, the experience, the workflow has adapted to the challenges of today, and the new way of doing it is just simply what needs to be done today, not the way it was when you originally developed it. It's no challenge to your personal intelligence if your processes are updated and changed through the BPM process. The results are more important than the ideas. Results matter. Success matters. It's more important than who thought of it. When you're working in a team, when you're working in a business, when your employees management, we're all in this together. Communication is the key. Don't make assumptions. Spell out everything to the most minor detail when you are creating processes and systemizing the basic work. The base work needs to be processed and systemized. Do not assume that every employee who's going to take that role is going to understand it the way you understand it. It needs to be written down and put into a process, practiced, training, etc. And then when it becomes second nature to the employee, that's when they open up their mind and their bandwidth to innovation. So how do you use this? How do you put business process management into use? How do you make these things a part of everything you do? It's putting the thought process and the theory of business process management into your planning, execution, review of all jobs at all levels of the organization and the organization itself. What can be improved and what should be improved. Everything should be inspected and challenged. Train, educate, empower employees to identify, communicate, and execute improvements in their workflow. Think about that. Train, educate, and empower. You have to empower them. You have to listen to them when they communicate it to them and then make it happen so that they will continually be looking for those innovations themselves. Empower through communication and execution for the improvements of the workflow. These are daily lessons learned and improvements, often very small, that can add up into something big that makes a change that then is effective. It's a top-down, bottom-up, meet in the middle, end-to-end improvement. There are no limitations. It doesn't have to come from a certain person. It doesn't have to come from the boss. It doesn't have to come from the production floor. It doesn't have to come from marketing. It doesn't have to come from sales. It doesn't have to come from engineering. It doesn't have to come from HR. It simply comes from where it's necessary, who's identified it, and who can make it happen. Create opportunities to increase margins by lowering cost, improving throughput, controlling as much of the business process as possible. Control of the process is beneficial to a successful business. Be intentional and be strategic. Make changes that improve the product, improve the service, improve the delivery, lower the costs, effectiveness, efficiencies. Don't make changes simply to be making changes. Make changes that make the job easier, more productive, etc. Do not make changes simply because it's a change. Change within and of itself is just busy work. Make a change because it's innovation, because it lowers those costs. Money, time, effort. If it's not doing that, then you're not being strategic. If you're being strategic, lowering cost, lowering your internal processes so that you can, again, increase those margins or do something better with your output, you are benefiting, and that is being strategic. Do not do changes just to be changing. That is a benefit of business process management. It is an attitude, it is a philosophy, it is a system for continual improvement in any organization in order to make it better. Better businesses are more survivable, more sustainable, more likely to be successful, and ultimately business is the management of change. If change is a part of your process, literal change is part of your literal process, you will be the best at managing change, and that is where success in business comes from. Now, this was number 5 in our 5-part series. I did this one last intentionally. It touches all of the other aspects of the first 4 of marketing, advertising, communications, and public relations. That was number 2. Number 3 was customer service and sales. Number 4, business development. Not the way you think, but the way we talked about it on episode 4. If you missed any of those, go back and check those out. 1 through 5. 5 being business process management affects, benefits, and works through the other 4 aspects. And it works through every department, every system, every process of any and all businesses. That's why it's number 5 in our series of 5 misunderstood, misutilized, and in this case, underutilized business techniques. I hope you guys dug it. That's the lesson today. We went a little bit long. We're almost at 30 minutes, but I appreciate you guys hanging on and checking it out. Make sure you listen to the podcast each and every week. You know how to find it: Anchor app, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, LinkedIn, social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know how to find us. You know the platforms that we're on. Make sure you get your Saturday Morning Hustle swag, Entrepreneur AF, Coffee and Donuts, all that good stuff. Check out the bonus episode, the Balance series. Current one is collaboration versus leadership versus not giving about what other people's opinions are. There'll be a new one next Monday, so check out the current episode of that. It's Saturday. I'm in the office. You know what that means, a Saturday Morning Hustle. This podcast is for anyone who's willing to go in on the weekend and earn it. See you next week.
Saturday Morning Hustle.